Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the house, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Steven Cicero, as always, appreciate you. Leo Lustig, good to see you. Not James, Sustainable Crypto. Kyle Rosa, good morning. Savage White, we have Broskies in the chat. What's up, dude? All set, good to see you. Triple Nickel, good morning, sir. Sustainable Crypto, I think I already said that. Let's see. Nate G, good morning. Tonto Bong Ronto, I love that name. Son of a Ravage, good to see you, man. 20-0. We have Daddy Chill, Alexander, good morning. Everybody else I may have missed, I apologize. 10 minutes to midnight. You're the best. Let's get into this. All right. Bitcoin 61,096 bucks. We got Ethereum at 23.97. Solana 139 bucks. We got XRP at 52 cents. Man, everything is in the red today. What is happening? Crypto is taking a overall beating, but this is a good time to buy. My opinion, 33 cents, almost 34 cents, but pushing down a little bit. We got Near Protocols down $4.61, down 5.42%. Caspa been taking a beating as well, 13.3 for price, 13 cents. Let's see, ETC is at 18.23. We got LTC at 64.66. Crazy. Things are really taking a beating today. Nuts. But I'm gonna buy some more Casper right now. Actually, I just had to run upstairs and get my wallet. That's why I was a little bit late, couldn't find it. We have Dogecoin at 10 cents over here. It's almost, I would say it's a little over 10 and a half, right? Pushing up to 11. I'm sure it's been back and forth between 11 and 10. So Dogecoin and whatever. This is what it is. Uniswap's actually up today. Looks like $7.88 to 8%. Sorry, almost 9% up on the day. Interesting. Crazy. I apologize, guys. I gotta fly through this today because I have a lot of stuff I got going on this morning. Look at Hex over here on Crypto Bubbles. Hex is down 17.6%. Does anybody still have this coin? Are you guys still investing in this? Crazy. I don't know what's going on there, but let's see. Uniswap again is the biggest winner of the day, 9% up, $7.88. We have Aptos over here down 9.2%. Crazy. $8.26. Conflux is down 7.1%. Damn, 16 cents. Again, Near Protocol, I don't know if it's a good time to buy. I was buying in the threes actually, but still a pretty decent pullback. It was up over $5, 5.5 or so, right? It's at $4.61. Crazy. Down 5.3%. Theta is down 5.4% to $1.21. Yeah, nothing really else jumping out at me, I guess. We have Pulse over here. Pulse Chain, if anybody cares. It's down 8.2%. Whiff's down 6.4. Bonk's down 4.1. FTT tokens down 6%. Oh, actually, yesterday, I forgot to read this, but Celsius, apparently, the creditors to Celsius only got 60% of their money. And FTX people that got paid back got what, 1.2% or something. So I guess FTX did a little bit better, but still it's kind of shitty. People really didn't get double their money like they should have, right? Let's see. Peepaw Bill said, I can't wait to see the Solar Shed videos. Yeah, me neither. I can't wait to start it. I haven't even started it, man. I've had so much shit going on, like it's been absolutely insane, but I will be starting that in the next day or so. I was gonna try to do it today, but I don't think I'll have time. All right, flashbang Crypto Fear and Greed Index. We got 39 over here on the Fear and Greed. It was 49 yesterday. We're dropping pretty heavily, but again, I think the whole election thing, storms yesterday, right? You guys got hit last night. Is it still going on? Does anybody know the storms down in Florida? If they are, and I hope everybody's safe. I haven't seen it. I don't know if there's any devastation. I really haven't. I didn't pull any news for it today, so I'm gonna have to go check that out in a little bit. But that obviously, like the storm stuff, has a lot to do with this. You know, war overseas has a lot to do with this. There's a lot of shit going on right now, and yeah, we're just gonna have to see what happens, man. It is what it is. But we got coins like Sad Hamster doing well over here, 17.4% in trending. If you guys didn't know, I have no idea what that coin is, by the way. Just first thing that popped up. Oh my god. Anyways, all right, top 10 coins over here by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lotto Staked Ether, Dogecoin, and Tron over here in 10th place at a $13.8 billion market cap. Toncoin is at a 12.8, and Cardano is at a $12 billion market cap in 12th place. Man, Cardano, please start moving. I'm just kidding. It's a good time to keep accumulating, man. to be honest. I think we're gonna have to wait till November to see some upside in this stuff. After the election, I think we're gonna see a nice boom. That's just my opinion. I don't think it really matters who wins, but one better than the other, I'm sure. Let's see. Leo Lustig, technically gathering materials is to start the start of the project. Yeah, I did gather all the materials, and that was a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of trips to Home Depot. Friggin' so much wood. It's insane. Well, I'm gonna be building a Taj Mahal of a shed. Apparently, it's gonna be giant. So whatever. Markets are typically down before the CPI report is released. When is that releasing, Max? Do you know? I don't even know. If you could let me know, that'd be great. Let's see. Yeah, really nothing else I want to jump or talk about over here. We're gonna move on to the mining segment of things. Again, I gotta blast through this today. My kid's got picture day, so I gotta help get her ready. All right, let's see. We got over here on ASIC Miner Value. If you guys haven't seen their site in a while, this new update they just did yesterday is freaking awesome. Where you can just click on like the Lithium coin, and all the miners for that one coin gets auto populated like right in a row, and it's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. But we're gonna leave it original for now. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. The AL1 Pro 16.6 terahash unit, again at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. You're going to be earning $43.81 a day. We got the AL1 15.6 terahash unit over here making $41.16 a day. The AL3 15 terahash unit over here making $39.28. The L9 17 gigahash unit, $20.28 a day. 16 gigahash unit L9, $19, just about $19.09 to be exact. Let's see, just kind of scrolling down, trying to check out like the home miners, right? The L7, looks like the L7's making some more money today. Look at this. I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. You guys know I host with them. Shout out to Terra Hosting if you're interested in hosting. 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Actually, I think their rates are going down as well. But I got my 9050 down there, and I'm making $7.10. Sorry, $7.14 a day as of right now. And it's literally been profitable the entire bear market. It's crazy. The thing, it's like $3 more from the other day. Crazy. Maybe $2 from yesterday. I forget. I think it was $5 yesterday. Insane. The Ice River AL2 Lite. Has anybody seen this thing? Has anybody seen one of these things in person? 2 terahash unit, 500 watts. I don't know if they even shipped these out yet, but that thing's making $5 a day. Is that worth buying? I don't know. Probably not. KS5M over here, 15 terahash unit, $4.15. If there's any miners you guys want me to go and look at, please let me know. Oh, it's today. CPI's today. Ooh, nice. A Dukin, Mr. Max. Thank you. Interesting. I'll have to buy some crypto before then. I'm gonna do it right now. Actually, we're watching the news clip. I'm gonna buy some more Caspa because buy the dips, people. It's my opinion. You guys do what you want. But first mistake is listening to people on YouTube, so please don't follow me. It is what it is. All right, let's see. The AL box 2. I want the plus. Where is it? Plus right here. 1 terahash unit. I've been running this thing in the solar trailer. Shout out to Gold Shell for sending this thing over. 480 watts over here, making $2 a day. Bruh. It's taking a beating. Let's just see. Where's the lithium? Where's the lithium? What's it looking like today? Oh my god, it's 5%, 6% down. Damn, $1.33. Jesus. Man, nobody holds. Nobody minds to hold anymore, huh? Nobody minds to hold. Yeah, I'm glad I sold out up here. I don't know. I'm not a holder of lithium. I sell it every day, but apparently a lot of people are doing that. And if that happens all the time, then yeah, guess what? Price goes down, unfortunately. Now the Ice River AL0, I got 2 of these things actually in the solar trailer. Shout out to Yes Mining and Ice River for sending these over. These things are making $1 a day. $1 a day. It's only costing me about 200 watts to run this thing on solar, and it runs throughout the night. I keep these are the 2 machines that I keep 100% constant 24/7. So they're nice. I like them. I actually have been shutting off the Caspa miners just because I'm not gonna fight the solar stuff to get little profits. Let's see, where's the KS0 Ultra 400 gigahashes? Dude, this thing's only making 9 cents a day now. Bruh. We need the price of Caspa to go up. Please pump the price. Let's see, Sasquatch crap. Let's see, I'm looking at those PDUs you used in the trailer. Do you know if you can schedule the outlets to turn off and on at certain times? You cannot. You can't. Not on the model that I got. There is another model that's like $700, but you can go get that model, and that model I believe has a timer. I forget the actual model. I don't even remember what the model mine is. Is it a 6 or something? Or is it 5? I think it's a 5 in mine. I think it's the number 6 instead of the 5 is the timer version of it. I forget though. I'm not, just don't quote me on that. I'm just kind of trying to remember because I think Rondi, my man Rondi, has one. So yeah, this is the PDU. I'm telling you, those network switch PDUs are like $700. It's insane. You can probably find them on eBay, but I don't know. I'm not sure of the exact model that actually has the network switch. I mean the network switch, the timers for that network switch. All right, looking at GPUs over here, hashrate.no. We have a Leo, top of the charts again. What is a Leo looking like price wise? This coin kind of came out of nowhere. I still don't know anything about it. I haven't minded at all. $2.95. Oh god damn, this thing was up at $6. Jesus. And then Panda showed up and then he just wrecked the whole coin, the whole thing. His whole farm's on it, told everybody about it. Can't tell that guy anything. You can't tell him anything. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy. It's like 50% down though from the 28th. Damn, it's not even that long ago. That's like literally 12 days ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's taking a 50% cut in 12 days or 10 days. Insane. Anyways, all right, Leo, top of the charts. That's it. That's all you got. GPUs, Block X and Pyron. But listen, mine and sell. That's what I would do. Don't hold it. Holding it, you're being foolish. My opinion. That's it. It's only my opinion. All right, moving on to the news segment of things. Mega caps will continue to take us to the promised land. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. Then we're going to get into some Elon Musk stuff, and we're going to get into some controversy about that HBO documentary about who is Satoshi. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I want to watch it. Let's do it.
It takes us to our talk of the tape. This remarkable run for stocks up 60% since the bull market's start. How much can we count on this rally to continue? We will ask Malcolm Etheridge. He is managing partner with the Capital Area Planning Group, also a CNBC contributor, and is here at Post 9. Welcome to New York. It's good to see you here.
Yeah, always good to see you.
I guess that's a key question, right? We're 2 years in this week. Saturday's going to mark 2 years of this bull market. How long can we count on it lasting?
How much time we got? I think that AI really is proving that it has that kind of staying power. Last year, it was the story was Microsoft. This year, the story has been NVIDIA. What's going to be the stock next year that the AI arms race powers higher and higher? That's the real question we should be asking. Not necessarily will it go on. That's
a good point, actually.
I guess implicit in that is your belief. It sounds like that you think mega caps are going to continue to take us to the promised land here.
Well, yes, and I think mega caps will definitely continue to take us to the promised land, not at the pace that they have the last couple of years necessarily, but I think that what we're seeing is the broadening, to use that word that we keep using, is really being impacted by AI once again, right? So you look at things like real estate, you look at things like energy, you look at materials, manufacturing. Those things are all really being powered, again, by our demand on the grid.
Let's talk about this 2-year-old bull market, because it's overcome a lot. Now, there do remain naysayers on what's happening. I don't think as many as existed before, but can you just speak to the resiliency of this market and what continues to guide it today in the face of continued noise here, there, and in parts everywhere?
Yeah, I think you're making a really good point. If you consider that rising rates were supposed to be the thing that really crushed the markets, and in the face of the highest rates we've seen historically in decades, right, the market said, I don't really care, especially since the companies powering the market's outperformance were ones that didn't really need to borrow to invest in growth anyway, right? If you consider the cash sitting on the balance sheet of a Microsoft or a Google or an Amazon, they weren't really worried about the Fed, so they could go build these LLMs that are powering still the AI revolution that we're talking about. So now we're at a moment where we're in an easing cycle. The Fed is cutting rates, which means that the companies that couldn't necessarily invest in growth to catch up to what's happening with the trend have the capacity now to either issue debt or go borrow to invest in AI, which gives us another second leg of this AI revolution.
Do you feel like we need to reset our expectations at all on where rates are going to go from here, or the pace at which the Fed is going to continue to cut rates? I go to the minutes, which were released an hour ago. Market's pricing in a 20% probability now of no change in November, although obviously the overwhelming number is still favoring 25 basis points. But but the pace of what the Fed is going to do feels like it's going to slow.
I think we have to at least brace ourselves for the idea that the Fed could decide to go slower from here, right? To your point, maybe it's still 25 basis points at the next meeting, but then it's 0 for some time, rather than assuming that an easing cycle means it's an elevator down, right? It's been an escalator up, probably won't be an elevator down.
That's your point of view? Because, look, I remember you were one of the outliers who were saying, look, I know everybody's on the same side of the boat talking about cuts. There is a chance that they actually hike. Not that you think they'll do that now, but you were unafraid to sort of go against the grain on what you thought the Fed was going to do. I wonder if we're getting some confirmation from hearing the minutes and such that we need to really reset our expectations, not only for what they're going to do, but what the action in the bond market is going to be.
Well, I think that we have to throw out the playbook of what has worked in the past that got us here, simply because we can't look at decades of historical data and extrapolate what's going to happen going forward here, because the whole COVID pandemic cycle that we're still dealing with has been such a unique situation, right? So the fact that unemployment has been as low as it has, with interest rates being as high as they have, and that hasn't really had an impact on a bull market the way that it normally would historically. Those are two things that usually compete with each other for who's going to lead the day. I think that we just have to reset our expectations for what that means. But I do take your point on interest rates, and I look at the fact that historically, right, I have to bring this up again, the yield curve uninverting is usually the sign of things to come. And so we should at least consider that maybe the recessionary indicator that it is telling us something, and we need to position ourselves for that as well.
I mean, does it have the ability to make us further question the multiple, the price that we're willing to pay for stocks if rates remain elevated? Earnings have to live up to a pretty good expectation.
What the hell just happened? He was in the middle of a conversation. They just ended it like that. What the fuck? All right. I didn't know that was going to happen. Anyways, if Musk says Tesla will launch robo-taxis in less than a year, it will be a positive move, I assume. They didn't finish the sentence, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Elon Musk making robo-taxis. Let's do it.
Elon Musk has sold investors on this idea that Tesla vehicles will one day be self-driving. Now, tomorrow, those promises may finally be fulfilled when the company unveils its robo-taxi at its We Robot event in Los Angeles. Fast Money friend Gene Munster joins us now on set. Gene is actually on the way to the robo-taxi event, so you're passing through. Thanks for joining us, Gene.
Dude, you guys see those like video clips where there'll be a person, like people in the back in like this robo-taxi that's just driving around the streets will get pulled over? Like there was one I watched. There was the car was just driving by itself, had nobody in it at all, like no driver, no people in the back, and they pulled it over, and they had to like talk to somebody through like the OnStar thing, kind of, right? It was like just person came over the speakers and they're like, your car is on the wrong side of the road because there was construction on the road. Like, that is terrifying. You imagine if people were in there. It's freaking insane. I don't know about this whole thing, but I think this is the future at some point.
And you're fully expecting to get into a robo-taxi and get driven around by no one tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd put the odds at that at above 90% that we'll get a chance to do that. And it's going to be obviously in a contained environment. And so keep in mind, back in 2018 at their Autonomy Day, they took a Model 3 and put it on Highway 101 in San Francisco. And so the idea of them being able to move around autonomously in a controlled environment is nothing new. I think what I'm focused in on is, what's the form factor like? Is this a 2-person? Is it a 4-person vehicle? And then the all-important question around timing of the vehicle, because for them to talk about something is very different than the substance of actually seeing these products in the market.
Because he talked about
They're going to have freaking city buses at some point. You imagine they have like a freaking bus, nobody's on it. You just pay the thing and it just takes you around.
a lot. He's promised it a lot.
21 times, in fact.
21 times. And the average promise in terms of time frame is 2 years.
2 years.
From that moment that he talked about.
From that moment. Yep,
and that moment still has not come. And so tomorrow, do you think it's going to be 2 years again, which would be, that means nothing to me.
I think that he's going to say something that's a little bit longer than under 2 years. I think he'll say that by the end of 25, that they're going to be rolling out some of these robo-taxis in some select cities. Now, that's an approach that Tesla historically hasn't taken. They've kind of had this idea of getting the cars in the market. But I think that they could take a similar approach to like Waymo. And also, I think another piece to the conversation around the timing. So again, late 2025, I think that they'll have some form of robo-taxi service. Another aspect of this is I think they may actually talk about a couple other vehicles, a more affordable Tesla. And I'm an outlier on this next one, but I think a van, a passenger van for autonomy, 6-10 people kind of a vehicle.
So, Gene, first of all, it's great to have you in the house.
You need like a real SUV style.
Fun to be here.
A long time.
Yeah.
So what is the business model of the robo-taxi? How much do you think it's worth? How's it going to work?
So if you think about the total profit of Tesla, I think that ultimately 20% of this could come the ride-hailing network. There's a lot of factors that play into that. I think that's just in the U.S. if they can get around 50% share. So, of course, Uber dominates that today. But I think if you look at if they eventually have this as a service where they charge 20% less than a typical Uber ride because you get rid of the driver, and they take a 15% cut, I think it can add, it's basically pure margin. So I think that this can be a material lever, is 20% addition. I don't think this is going to like triple Tesla's business, for example, but I think it's going to be a material piece to it.
Gene, how do you handicap this?
I mean, it will if it takes over everything.
Stock's probably 40% off its all-time high. It's probably rallied, I don't know, over 100% from the lows in the spring. So it's volatile stock. 260 has been resistance now, December, July, and then recently. Is it ever going to get to a level where it starts doing what it's supposed to do, lower left, upper right, like a lot of these other stocks have done?
So for this week, I actually expect the stock to probably be down after the event because I mentioned that the all-important timing question. I don't think investors are going to leave with a ton of substance or a ton of excitement around that. But I think if you look at the trajectory of where they're going, ultimately, I think that growth rates can go from, call it 7% in the most recent September quarter. I think they can get back in the 20-25% growth rate. And if you put a multiple on this, I think this is a hardware software service similar to Apple. That trades at just over 8 times. You can build a case for the next couple of years for this to be a 40% stock to be 40% higher. So I think it will continue to make new highs as deliveries start to
40% higher. That's significant. That'd be like $320.
accelerate.
How do you factor in the two new vehicles that you are expecting and the impact on margins? Because that could be a real setback for investors in terms of how they're comparing margins to OEMs, because they've said that as being sort of a marker. We're not going to get there.
So the key word is affordability. That's a word that Elon used on the last call when he's talking about this next model. And it's a little bit ambiguous, but it has a big impact on margins. So if the affordable vehicle that they're talking about is actually taking a stripped-down Model 3, which they're doing in Mexico, that probably is actually going to be okay with margins because they got a lot of the manufacturing infrastructure in place. If it's building a whole new factory for a entirely new, more affordable Model 2, then it probably continues to pressure margins. I think the margin anxiety for investors is, I think that's kind of basing right now. I think the focus is more shifting to delivery growth over the next few quarters.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. That'd be so cool, though. I mean, I know it already exists, kind of, but it's just, I don't know. I agree with the whole robo-taxi thing, especially for, like, drunk girls when they're getting, like, abducted by, like, these Uber drivers and stuff. I know that was probably a while ago, but I'm sure things like that still happen, right? It's, I don't know. Just for people to be like pure safety, right? I know there's nobody behind the wheel, so it's kind of unsafe at the same time, but I don't know, like 2 a.m, you're hammered trying to go home. Like that's probably a safer, bet than some creepy dude picking you up. I don't know. All right. Investors are getting excited about NVIDIA again. Let's see what Mr. Stacy Raskin has to say over here on CNBC television. Let's do it.
NVIDIA's AI Summit in Washington, D.C. is wrapping up today and nearly propelled the shares to a new all-time high. The company is focused on energy efficiency and enterprise software as they work to avoid being boxed in as just a processor company worth a couple $1 trillion. Meanwhile, Foxconn is announcing plans to build the world's largest manufacturing facility for a key component of NVIDIA's Blackwell platform. Here to discuss is Stacy Raskin. He's senior analyst at Bernstein. Good to have you, Stacy. Let's start with the big picture takeaways on NVIDIA after this D.C. summit. The shares almost kissed that new high or made a new high this morning.
Yeah, they did. Look, I mean, people are getting excited about the story again, especially as we approach earnings and then year end into next year as their new platform, Blackwell, really starts to ramp. And look, by all indications, their own commentary, all the supply chain checks and everything else, demand for this product just looks off the charts. And, it's usually a good time to be owning NVIDIA into the launch of a product cycle. And that's where we are right now. This cycle, if the checks are any indication, has the potential to be massive. So people are getting really excited about it.
And maybe it's just a kind of near-term technical analysis, but I listened to Katie Stockton. She says, maybe it's range-bound for now. Maybe we go back under 100. There's been a lot of excitement and a lot of hype. And when I know about Blackwell, you think, well, most people know.
Yeah, I mean, the last time it went under 100 was when there were some rumors about some delays to Blackwell, some redesigns to some of the chip components that are on it. And as it turns out, there were some issues. They were able to sort of work through it in a relatively quick fashion, and it kind of turned into sort of a nothing burger, at least from the standpoint of the trajectory of the ramp. It doesn't look like it slowed anything. But that was the last time it went under 100. Short of anything like dramatic like that, I don't know if we see that anymore. Like I said, at this point, the indications that the numbers are much more likely, I think, to have an upward bias than a downward bias. And I suspect that's true for the stock as well as we get into the ramp into the end of the year.
Real quickly, I want to ask you about some of the rest of the space as well. But what do you have for the PE here? I mean, what are the earnings that the market is expecting?
Yeah.
And what do you think is possible? And what should the multiple be for a company growing like this?
Yeah, the multiple is actually not that expensive if you believe the numbers. I think the sell side's like somewhere around $4, maybe a little more. I suspect the buy side, the investors are higher. They're probably closer to 450 or 5. And again, if you look at some of the supply chain checks and you see where the revenues could go, if the demand is sufficient to meet the supply that is likely to be available, you could get numbers that are higher than that. And so if the numbers are any closer to being correct, the stock's, 130, it's called like mid to high 30s multiple on, a realistic kind of number. It's not that expensive. And I've made this point before. It's much cheaper today than it was before the run started a year and a half ago.
Right, because the
the stock's gone up a ton, but the earnings have gone up much, much more than the stock. So as long as these numbers are sustainable, but that's the controversy is the numbers have gotten so big so quickly. Like, is it sustainable? That is the question. But for now, like I said before, I suspect numbers are much more likely to be going up versus down.
And is it cyclical? I mean, historically speaking, I mean, the new chip is always, gets a high multiple, but over time, they become too cyclical. They get lower multiples as a result because investors don't like the ups and downs. And some of the bulls on this have to say basically that it's not going to be cyclical this time around in order to justify trading where it is and with the expectations where they are. And what's going on with the rest of the industry in terms of supply and demand right now?
Yeah, you bet. So if we look at the rest of the industry, like this will be an upturn year for semis in general, but I wouldn't say it's a healthy upturn. Like memory is going to grow a lot because memory was horrendous last year, and actually they took supply offline because the demand was so horrible, and because of that, pricing went up, and so memory will be good. PCs and smartphones, they're okay. You're probably not getting a lot of growth, and there's some worries about things like CPU inventory in PCs. Data center, like AI is off the charts, but traditional data center networking and CPUs are pretty weak. Industrial has been weak. It looks like maybe some parts of that have bottomed, but we're not seeing a ton of signs of recovery yet. And automotive is now starting to roll over, maybe in a pretty big way. We've had a number of OEMs in recent weeks have negatively pre-announced in some pretty bad fashion. And so, in general, like outside of AI, I wouldn't say that things look fantastic. But AI demand, like I said, right now it's much more. It's being gated by supply rather than demand. They're selling everything that they can make right now in AI. And fortunately for NVIDIA, that's where they are. That's where they play.
Up 2,000% in the past 2 years. One of the great stories. You got
2,000% in the past 2 years. That's crazy. All right, moving on. CNBC Crypto World. VanEck announces venture fund targeting crypto and AI startups. They also talk about that Who is Satoshi documentary, and we're going to get into another video about that as well. Let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Developer Peter Todd is denying claims that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. In an HBO documentary released Tuesday titled Money Electric: The Bitcoin Mystery, filmmaker Cullen Hoback claims Todd is the anonymous author behind the Bitcoin white paper. Todd denies the film's claim, calling it nonsense in a post on X. Todd also alleges it was done to drum up media attention. Others in the industry have shared skepticism about the claim as well. Muneeb Ali, CEO of Trust Machines and the creator of Bitcoin Layer 2 stacks, said on X that Peter Todd is not Satoshi, and that anyone who has seriously worked in the Bitcoin industry knows this. Cullen, meanwhile, is staying firm on the claim, resharing posts he believes adds to his case of Todd being Satoshi. Next, Mara Holdings is making moves to generate power for its data centers. The company is partnering with natural gas company Engon to build a 25-megawatt mining operation across Texas and North Dakota.
Jesus.
Those sites will be powered off excess natural gas from energy producers with oil fields nearby. CEO Fred Thiel said this would be Mara's first owned power generation assets and that utilizing existing natural gas production would reduce operating costs. Miners have been looking for ways to cut operating costs and boost profits since the Bitcoin halving cut mining rewards in half earlier this year. Last, New Yorker writer Charles Duhigg joined Squawk Box this morning to discuss the wave of tech influence in this election cycle, and he points to the crypto industry being especially key in shaping the 2024 race.
Almost half of every dollar given by a corporation to a super PAC in this election was given by the crypto industry. And they have a very, very specific reason why. They want crypto to be legalized. And they're using that money as a tool to bully politicians, and it's very effective.
Duhigg points to Fair Shake, a crypto super PAC donating to candidates across the U.S. as particularly powerful, even swaying the outcome for a Senate seat in California.
Katie Porter, who is running for the Senate here in California, essentially her race was blown up in the primary because a group named Fair Shake, which is a crypto super PAC, came in and spent $10 million overnight running ads, just annihilating her. And it worked. Politicians in other places saw this happen and they began voting for pro-crypto bills. They began agreeing with and releasing pro-crypto statements. Money matters more than ever before in today's elections, and the people with the most money is the tech industry.
All right, let's talk about VC funding for crypto for our main story. VanEck announced this morning that it's launching a $30 million venture fund focused on startups hoping to revolutionize fintech with crypto and AI. Crypto World's Jordan Smith spoke to Wyatt Lonergan, general partner for VanEck Ventures, about what kinds of startups the fund is targeting.
Must be
All right, so you're launching VanEck Ventures. This early stage fund is focused on fintech, crypto, and AI. And I'm curious why those three areas of focus. And for the purposes of crypto world specifically, why does crypto fit into that strategy?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jordan. Very excited to tell you more about VanEck Ventures. Yeah, I mean, we see ourselves as a fintech fund first and foremost at the intersection of crypto and AI. Crypto is really the value layer, and stablecoins to us are very core to that thesis. AI is where you can take financial services that are typically represented by people and now turn those into software. So we're kind of assuming that a lot of the underlying technology here, whether it be the L1 blockchains or the large language models, have been commoditized to a point where now middleware and applications can leverage these primitives really to redesign and create kind of a net new internet native financial system.
Let's keep talking about your areas of interest for just a second. I mean, I feel like most places have really targeted tokenization as the thing that they think will get real buy-in from Wall Street or the larger ecosystem. And tokenization has these cycles of hype, and I think we're somewhere in another hype cycle right now. Is this time different? And what do you see as the types of innovation most likely to succeed in this area that you might be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I think this hype cycle might be different, right? This is the first time where you're seeing large institutions like BlackRock, like VanEck. Just the other day, Visa announced a stablecoin tokenization platform for banks to create stablecoins and launching that with BBVA. Similarly, I think a lot of that is driven by the fact that the technology has been battle tested, right? Stablecoins are going to settle over $24 trillion this year. All-time supply sits at around, or current supply sits around all-time highs at $170 billion. So it's hard to ignore this, especially when you look at the innovation that stablecoins create. Right now, you can take dollars, upload them onto Coinbase, send them anywhere in the world at the speed of a text message for free. And then that user can take that stablecoin from their wallet and deposit it directly to the bank account. So I think Wall Street and large institutions look at this and say, this is the future, especially when you consider the existing legacy rails. And most of fintech are just very thin layers that sit on top of legacy banking or financial system. Stablecoins take all those middlemen that charge excessive fees, that create slow settlement times, and replace them with software. And so I think you're going to see a lot of institutions start to leverage this. And tokenization for us really just builds upon the formation that stablecoins have already enabled. And now you can create net new assets, markets that were previously illiquid or hard to access. So I think it's going to create a Cambrian explosion of new fintech products over the next decade.
To go back to this announcement, you mentioned that you're looking to spend across 25 to 35 investments ranging between $500,000 and $1 million. And I should note that those are relatively small check sizes in the world of VC funding. So talk to me about your strategy and the kinds of companies you're targeting, or why you think you can compete in this world of inflated valuations or funding rounds, especially in AI, which is getting all the attention right now.
Yeah, I mean, the fund size was very intentional. We want to build a franchise of funds across VanEck, both in the liquid space and the venture capital space. And I think, frankly, it's not the right time to launch a multi-billion-dollar fund. Venture capital as a whole, I think it's never been harder to be a VC fund. Returns are compressing. It's incredibly competitive. And for most funds, there's no secondary liquidity. So companies are having to stay private longer. And when they do go public, their valuations are getting crushed. So crypto, I think, is actually one of the few areas of venture capital that offers true asymmetric upside. And then having a small fund and having a concentrated portfolio allows us to be really focused on returns. VanEck manages roughly $110 billion. That is an asset management business. This is an investment business, and it's very different. So we want to be small. We want to be focused. We want to be partnering with the best founders at the earliest stage. And to your point on AI, yeah, I think a lot of things are getting bid up, but we're seeing that the underlying technology continues to get commoditized. Inference costs have dropped 85% in like 14 months. It's the fastest technology to get commoditized. But I still think there's a huge opportunity on the B2B SaaS side. We've made a few investments there. And so I wouldn't write off the category, but for us, it's really about getting in early, getting the right ownership, and partnering with the right people.
I want to go back to something you said just there, which was the IPO market and the traditional off-ramps for some of these VCs and the funding that they put in. I mean, we haven't really seen any movement for IPOs from crypto companies. It seems like the debut of crypto companies on U.S. exchanges is pretty murky. What's your take on the proper off-ramp for VCs buying into crypto? And do you think the outlook for IPOs in the crypto industry is going to get better anytime soon?
I think it'll get better. I think stablecoin regulation, we have the Loomis-Gillibrand Payment Stablecoin Act that's currently sitting with Congress that was introduced last April. Good chance that we could see that approved in the lame duck period. If not, I think we all feel pretty confident in the next 12 months. So that will enable, I think, more crypto fintech companies, the likes of Circle, who I used to work for, to be able to go public and be first movers in this market. But I think the other problem here is that we've had a really harsh regulatory environment in crypto that has largely targeted companies releasing tokens. But tokens are a really interesting instrument. They can represent things like the underlying ownership of the network, governance rights, cash flows, or sometimes passive yield through staking. And the structure of these tokens is that the project or company will go public much earlier in their life cycle, usually in the first 2 to 3 years. And so that provides earlier liquidity, better price discovery. In some cases, that hasn't worked out where you've seen intense volatility tied to the overall crypto asset class. But I think it's awesome. It reminds me a lot of, in the early days of the internet when companies like Microsoft used to go public at lower valuations. And, retail investors could benefit in the upside of that versus what we're seeing in the traditional venture world where there's an oversupply of VC capital. And the IPO markets are kind of getting tired of these ridiculous prices that they're coming out with.
Okay, that's all for crypto.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to the videos of the day. I want to see what the hell is being said over here with Swan Bitcoin. What's really wrong with HBO's Bitcoin documentary? Oh, by the way, I did get whacked yesterday watching that clip that he played, so he definitely wasn't able to monetize his video either. So yeah, I don't know. I hope I don't get whacked again for watching this, but let's see what they got to say over here on Swan Bitcoin. Let's do it.
HBO's Bitcoin documentary that claimed to uncover the mystery of...
Have any of you guys seen this documentary, by the way? I haven't watched it yet, so I apologize. Spoiler alert. Should have said that first.
Satoshi Nakamoto aired yesterday, and to say it's bad doesn't go far enough. In this video, I'll go through all the things they get wrong and why the film's stunt to add hype might actually pose a real-world threat to someone's life.
Oh boy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pure Bitcoin Signal. I'm Hurley, Director of Content with Swan. Now let's talk about that bad movie. Money Electric, The Mystery of Bitcoin aired yesterday on HBO. Now, I watched it in full so you don't have to, and it was not good. If anything, I think it does Bitcoin a disservice, which is something extremely hard to do. First of all, I'd like to take back what I said in yesterday's video. I do not recommend anyone watch this film. It's not only a huge waste of time, but a distraction from what Bitcoin represents. I find it ironic that the film's director, Colin Hobach's previous film, was an investigation into the QAnon conspiracy, because the level of reach needed to believe the theories the film lays out rivals even Q. Hobach took to X the week before the film's release, claiming that they had solved the mystery of who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I had suspected it was a marketing gimmick to hype the film, but after watching it, I realized it actually makes a bold and dangerous claim that, spoiler alert, Peter Todd, an early Bitcoin developer from Canada, is Satoshi. The evidence that the film lays out is extremely flimsy and probably the least compelling I've ever seen for Satoshi's identity. Not only that, but early on in the documentary, Colin suggests that the identity of Satoshi should not be known because it could endanger the person's safety. Then, ironically, he proceeds to recklessly accuse Peter Todd of being Satoshi without actually providing any proof. I find this reckless, dangerous, and shameful, and it shows the only thing—
That's a wicked dick move. Like, hey, by the way, it's super dangerous for people to know this, but I think it's that guy.
thing he is concerned about is the film's success, even at the expense of a real person's life.
Yeah,
the film's aha moment that is presented as the strongest piece of evidence was the reply Peter Todd made to Satoshi on the original forums in December of 2010. The film frames Peter Todd as accidentally continuing Satoshi's thoughts while logged into an alt account. The response, which was posted a whole 13 hours after Satoshi's, does not look to me like Peter is continuing Satoshi's thoughts at all. It just looks like he's correcting Satoshi, which is something Peter had done many times before. It's pretty remarkable that this is the film's big reveal moment. It's pure conjecture that definitely wouldn't even hold up in court as any type of real evidence. The second best piece of evidence was a message from a chat log where Todd once said he's a uniquely qualified expert in sacrificing Bitcoins because he did exactly one sacrifice before himself. The film alludes to this being when Todd, as Satoshi, sacrificed the 1 million coins that he originally mined. Again, no proof, just weak conjecture and innuendo. The final scenes of the film, with Cullen bringing his theory to both Todd and Adam back, is both hilarious and terribly embarrassing for the director. Todd can't stop laughing at the absurdity of his claims and has some great quotes, the best of which is this one.
I'll warn you, this is going to be very funny when you put this into the documentary and a bunch of Bitcoiners watch it.
And of course, Todd was right, as Bitcoiners will either never watch this garbage or will poke holes in it and make fun of it for years to come. But besides showing terrible investigative skills, providing no real evidence, and a pretty dangerous assertion, the film itself is unserious with a sometimes mocking and undermining tone. And this is why I think the film does a disservice to Bitcoin. While it may provide some basis for people to perhaps better understand how Bitcoin works, it doesn't provide any real-world basis for its value proposition or why it's being taken more and more seriously by massive institutions and nation states. The film and anything else trying to focus on Satoshi's identity is a distraction from the real reason why Bitcoin exists, the huge problem it solved, and the massive potential it has to completely change the game of money and power. So I hope Peter Todd stays safe and that this shameful documentary doesn't put his life in danger. And I hope the filmmakers realize the time they wasted making it and everyone who spent the 100 minutes watching it. I'll never get those minutes back. That being said, Bitcoin doesn't care what HBO or Cullen or anyone else thinks. Satoshi Nakamoto was the inventor of Bitcoin, and I highly doubt anyone will ever know his true identity, because his OPSEC was impeccable. And the facts that I laid out in yesterday's video stand firm. Bitcoin exists and cannot be stopped. Here's a clip of Eric Kaysen from Bitcoin Shooter talking about why Satoshi's identity doesn't matter.
Even if Satoshi Nakamoto was the most evil or the most good person who ever existed, that doesn't fundamentally change anything about Bitcoin in any meaningful way. Because nuclear fission was invented by a Nazi German scientist. Like, should we not deal with that? Because he clearly has values and ideals that maybe don't align with it. But like, that has nothing to do with it. Like, this is just a technique that's reserved in nature for us to actually make fission. And the same thing with Satoshi Nakamoto. He just brought all of these pieces together in such a way that he was able to present an actual decentralized robust new model to have a monetary system that has absolutely nothing to do with him. That's the real beauty of it.
Satoshi's identity, motives, and beliefs don't matter. Bitcoin has taken on a life of its own. TikTok, next block. That's it for today. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments.
Interesting. Well, shout out to Swan Bitcoin for breaking that down, because I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if you guys have, but I haven't had a chance. Joe Rogan warns crypto holders. Let's see what bullshit this is. I actually saw this full podcast where he talks about this a little bit briefly, so I want to see how twisted it gets, but yeah, we'll find out. This is gonna be the last video we're gonna watch today.
In this fuck hedge fund and this and that and this goes under, or what if you're an idiot and you invest in NFTs or Bitcoin. I know a dude who just lost a shitload of money in crypto coin.
Joe Rogan on a recent episode of the Joe Rogan.
Of course they just clipped that one part, but yeah, no, he's not wrong though. I'm gonna be honest, monkey pictures are a fucking scam. People paid like literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for those pictures, and they're worth like nothing now. It's crazy. Not nothing, but like 1 ETH and you paid like 30 for it. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Experience just slammed cryptocurrency.
You get nutty, you think it's free money, and like, no, it's some kind of crazy thing that's going on where you got fake money.
Explains why he thinks it's a scam.
Some weird created money, and you just spent a lot of real money to buy some of this weird, like, fuck imaginary money. Speaking digital money.
And watch today's whole video.
Jamie tried to explain it to me like 6 or 7 times.
Because even though his producer, Jamie
tried to explain to him the NFTs like 6 or 7 times. Because Jamie, the guy that produces the podcast, actually is a holder of NFTs. And he was trying to explain to him like how NFTs, so he's like, if you have a picture of the Mona Lisa on your phone, he's like, you don't actually own that picture. He's like, it's the same thing with NFTs. You own the digital code to it. And just Joe doesn't understand it. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand it either. I mean, I get it to a point, but like I don't care for it. I don't care to understand it. Let's put it that way. And that's probably how Joe's looking at it, but I don't know. It's gonna get all twisted.
Argues with them.
Getting into the screenshot thing is a tough thing because it's like you own a car, but me having a picture of your car on my phone doesn't mean I own your car.
And he actually had some pretty good arguments.
I hear what you're saying, but it's not the same because there's no real value.
Watch today's whole video. Joe first explains why.
Is that the fat Jake Paul?
Joe first explains why NFTs were one of the stupidest things in crypto, have no value. Let's watch this video, like the content, I want to react, and give you my opinion.
Do you want to buy what were those things, those fake pictures that people bought for a while?
NFTs?
Yeah, those.
What was that?
What was that about? That was crazy.
Bro, and they sold for millions of dollars. I know a dude who he got rich. He was an artist.
Yeah, but
he got rich selling NFTs. Yeah. In the beginning, when everyone was like frothy with it,
it sold, and then they dropped to nothing. So I always have all these people coming up to me, and they're like, "Oh man, you're trying to raise money for the rainforest." And they're like, "You need to get into the NFT market." And so like I almost got by the NFT people.
Yeah. No, I've had multiple occasions where I've been asked to do things for NFTs, and I've been asked to do things with crypto, and I was like, I don't even know what it is.
He doesn't understand.
So how am I gonna endorse? Like, I won't endorse something unless it's a product that I've used or makes sense, or they can explain to me, oh, this is how it works. Like, okay.
So first of all, and I give
that's a perfectly logical reason not to talk about it.
Joe full credit on this. He is admitting he doesn't know what he's talking about.
There you go.
He's admitting he doesn't understand cryptocurrency, let alone NFTs. Now, unfortunately, in this case, he just has a massive audience, so at least 14.5 million people watched this talk with him trashing crypto. I am going to call Joe out on a few things, but let's continue this.
An NFT, like, Jamie tried to explain it to me like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but you have it on your phone, right? So I can take a screenshot and I have it on my phone too.
Yeah.
No, but you don't own it. Okay, what does that mean?
Pay attention to this back and forth because Jamie, the producer, is going to jump in.
You have the exact same experience of having this $1 million yacht ape. Is that what it was called?
No, it's the Bored Ape.
What was the Bored Ape? What was the ape?
It's just a fucking cartoon picture of a monkey.
What were they called though? Yeah. Was it yacht apes or bored apes? There was like one that a lot of people were buying, and I was like, what the are you paying money for? This is crazy.
It's called the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Oh, that's what
Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Okay, Bored Ape. Right. Bored Ape. Show an image of what these things are. And what was the most expensive one that went for? This thing is like a cartoon. And how much did they go for?
I mean, at the time, so those numbers at the bottom right there are showing that would be like, I think it's
I'm gonna
ether.
bump this up a
So
little bit.
111 ether would be the price. That's 3,000 a coin right now. So that'd be 300 grand. But
111 Ethereum for a freaking picture. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm on the side of it's foolish.
300 grand.
It said it was sold at 769. So that would
you
have
could
been
just
close to a
screenshot
million.
So
Just
it's
screenshot that
sold
shit.
at 769. So it's sold at close to $1 million. And what is that?
And this is where Jamie defends the NFT community, defends the can't you just screenshot it argument.
That's getting into the screenshot thing is a tough thing because it's like you own a car, but me having a picture of your car on my phone doesn't mean I own your car.
Yeah, but you don't understand what I just said
I know,
earlier.
I know.
I said it's the exact same experience.
Yeah, I know.
The experience of having it on your phone is very different than the experience of you having a picture of my car.
The same with any art then. That's just the argument for art.
No,
Card
but
is
it's
a bad
not,
example.
because-
Card's a bad example. But Mona Lisa, I can look at the Mona Lisa on my phone all day long. I don't own it.
Right, but there's a big difference between owning the Mona Lisa on your phone. So like the Mona Lisa was only on a phone, and you could just screenshot it, and you would also have the exact same experience of the Mona Lisa. The difference in the physical Mona Lisa is it's hundreds of years old. Right. And it's painted by a master.
You don't just own it on your phone. Is the sort of the thought.
But you do.
Where do you own it then?
But the thing is, you can replicate.
Your phone's an access point to where you do own it. That's like saying your bank account, is only on your phone, but it's not.
I hear what you're saying, but it's not the same because there's no real value in that NFT. It's fake.
It's not
like the
wrong,
experience
though.
of having it is no
agree.
different. It's not like I get that you're saying that it's money.
Look, I'm
and you're going
into
to
it.
trade it as money.
I agree with everything you're saying as someone that is invested in this stuff, and I'm like, I'm getting
How much did you waste?
I think Jamie's doing a great job. He's probably actually watching this video breakdown today. But just to add to it, the revolution of NFTs, just like, and I will say this, the revolution of Bitcoin is verifiable digital ownership. So before cryptocurrency, Bitcoin was invented, the average person couldn't really own anything, their data, their identity, whatever, online. Bitcoin was the first case of verifiable ownership. You could transfer value. Yes, somebody could screenshot my Bitcoin public address, but they don't own it. Just like somebody could screenshot my Wells Fargo bank account. Doesn't mean they own it. Of course, with the bank account analogy, a centralized, powerful middleman has to verify that. The big banks are the arbiter of all that. With Bitcoin for the first time, the people were in charge with their global digital ledger. Now, what Bitcoin did for money, NFTs are doing for identity, community, and for example, just taking the digital collectible example route. Back in the day, if you wanted to support, let's say, a musician, an artist, you'd go to their concert, you'd get the specific t-shirt that they were only offering for that year's tour. That was a way you could be able to tell your friends, I was there, this is verifiable. And while you can still do something like that today, I go and I buy a t-shirt at a concert, maybe I wear it 5, 10 times max per year, maybe just a handful of my friends are able to see it. Yet, with a digital collectible, let's say something that I can only buy at a concert, post that on my Instagram, post that on my Twitter, all my friends can see it. Plus, millennials and definitely Gen Z today say their digital lives are often more important than their physical lives, as crazy as that sounds. So what Joe Rogan doesn't understand, that NFTs, while there was so much garbage and there was so much hype, and many of them, the majority of them were overvalued back then, this is just the natural progression of technology. Also, NFTs allow verifiable data than just a physical item. I mean, a physical item can be counterfeited. You can buy that t-shirt from somebody who's actually there and sort of fake your identity. NFTs solve that. Jamie, please continue. You're doing a great job.
How much did you waste?
I didn't waste any because I was getting stuff when it was cheap or whatever, Like I bought it at the right time. I could have sold it and made a bunch of money, but I did not. I would have had to pay taxes on all that money too, which I don't know if people are doing or did and all that stuff.
It's also kooky.
The thing I was going to bring up is I'm into sports cards now. Those are... Why is that stuff worth money?
Well, because they're original physical things, and then they're also like have serial numbers on them. I guess if you had a fake one,
that's where you don't know if anyone's faking it.
But the thing is, the real ones, you're also getting like a little piece of history, like this arrowhead. If somebody made this arrowhead and I didn't know, because guys do make arrowheads. There's a lot of modern day people that make arrowheads, but this one was found at a friend of mine's ranch.
I think it's about time Joe Rogan has another Bitcoin guest, does a Bitcoin episode, possibly invites Andreas Antonopoulos back on the show. I do think he's at a point that he is okay with Bitcoin. He's just highly speculative about everything else. After all, here's a clip from way back in 2022.
Exactly. I think of Bitcoin the same way I think about the early internet. I think they didn't see it coming, and now it's a viable form of currency. You can actually buy things with it, and I think the government is freaking out. I think what they're going to try to do is they tried to do some shit with the internet during the Obama administration where they were going to try to censor the internet, and it fell apart because people were furious in the uproar, and they thought the political repercussions of it were not worth it. Like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, so they backed off of it. But I feel that there's going to come a time where some government, whether it's the United States or another government might try it first, they're going to try to implement, I know they already do it in China, but they're going to try to implement a digital currency, a centralized digital currency that they can control.
Very spot on. And by the way, for that reason, he should like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the antithesis of CBDCs. Also, since
He didn't say he didn't like Bitcoin. He just said fake money. That was just whatever.
clip, the United States government has only embraced it, Bitcoin specifically. If anybody knows young Jamie,
All right. Anyways, well, I guess shout out to Altcoin Daily for that video, but that was a little bit of FUD, I guess. I don't know. I'm on his side of the NFT thing, though. I think it's a bunch of foolishness. That's just me. You guys, they have use cases like car titles, house deeds, medical records, things like that. Yeah, I totally NFTs. Way to go. You need to keep your information somewhere, right? But a monkey picture that costs over 100 grand, hell no. $1 million, hell no.
Stop the cap.
All right, recapping things for anybody that's just joining. Bitcoin $61,282. We got Ethereum at $2,400. Solana is at $140. We got XRP at 52 cents. Let's see, everything's on fire sale today. 88, 33 cents, just about 34 cents actually. We have AVAX over here at 26 bucks. Near Protocol at $4.63, down 5.21%. Caspa is at 13 cents, 13.3 to be exact. ETC 18.21. Let's see, LTC again $64. I think I already said that. Let's see. Uniswap is actually up today. Biggest earner of the day, 7.4% to $7.77. Look at that. Dogecoin just under 11 cents at 10.7. We have Shiba down 2.24%. Pepe is also down today 3%. BNB looks like it's $570, 2.16% down on the day. And then where is, oh wait, yeah, Teo right here. I'm like, where is BitTensor? $593 over here. What the hell just happened? Oh, it keeps moving. That's weird. All right, $593. It is down 0.8%. It's been doing pretty good. Let's check out crypto bubbles real quick. Looks like Popcat just came back into the earning category here. 5.2% up to $1.24. I've never owned that. These meme coins are just crazy to me. Again, 7.6 for Uniswap. Hex is the biggest loser of the day. 17.5% down on the day to a penny. 1.2, I guess, right? It's a little bit over a penny. So Conflux is down 8.4% to 17 cents. We got OP down 6% to $1.53. ASI Alliance, which used to be Fetch AI, is down 4.1% to $1.35. Flashbang for anybody just joining. Fear and Greed Index is at a 39. It was 49 yesterday. Honestly, just a lot of stuff going on. I guess CPI data is coming out today. If anybody is wondering, Mr. Max Voltage let us know that earlier. But guys, that is it. I have to get out of here, unfortunately. Daddy duty calls as usual. Kids got picture day today, so I gotta go make sure she's all dressed nice. You guys have a great, happy, and safe Thursday. One more day, and then we're Friday, or then we're on the weekend. So Friday's tomorrow. Don't stress over today. Hopefully you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a good day and peace out.
She don't hawk to her, we don't talk to her.
Perfect. Eat shit, Gary.